Brock, we're counting down our top intriguing Seahawks. It'd be interesting to know who Pete would say. I don't think he can answer it on the air, but off the air it'd be interesting, like who he would think is the most intriguing player on his team. Maybe we can ask him something like that. But today we are on to
number 9.
Darrell Taylor, outside linebacker, I think, in what appears to be a make-or-break season for him. No, he's not an automatic free agent at the end of this year because of the way his contract told with the injuries, but this is a season where they've drafted consecutive second-rounders at his position in each of the 2 years since he was here. Boye Mafe, now Derek Hall. He's going to be in competition with both of them, and I think he's yet to really prove what he is in the NFL. I know we can get to the quarterback because I saw it last year. He had 9.5 sacks. That's not nothing. That is a good sack total for any pass rusher not named Bosa. But he only had 26 total tackles. 26 tackles. You get credit for a tackle on a sack? You should, right? So in addition to those 9.5 sacks, he only had 15.5 tackles? That's not great. Especially for a guy who wants to be more than just a third down pass rusher. So who is he? When he first came up, he was a defensive end, then he was a linebacker, then defense. Like he's gained weight, he's lost weight. Who is Darrell Taylor? Is he a starter? Is he a rotational piece? What? The only other thing I'll say about him, Brock, and I'll turn it over to you to try to answer some of these questions, is it's easy to kind of forget what he looks like until you see him in person. Right? I kind of come into it thinking, okay, he's not quite as big as either Mafe or Derek Hall. And then you see him in person, you're like, oh my God, no, he's a monster. He is he might be, as you say, the most body beautiful player on this team. He's jacked. He looks like the prototypical outside linebacker who can run and move and hit and is physical and all of those things. And it's just a matter of it actually showing up out on the football field.
Yeah, I will use the term in between. I was just chatting with my daughter, my oldest, Haley, and her boyfriend's a football player up at Montana, and it's just a little in between. Is he a D lineman? Is he a linebacker? Right? Just body type wise, there are so many guys through the years of football. So many. Many that I played with, even in college, that were great college players, but they were just in between at the next NFL level. Right? They either weren't quite twitchy enough to be a DN, they weren't quite thick and powerful enough to be a D tackle, right? They weren't quite athletic enough to be a linebacker, but they were undersized to be a DN. It's just kind of in between. I don't put, as you said, I don't necessarily put Darrell there because of that physique and the clay to mold. I mean, it's impressive stuff, but I think in somewhere in his NFL mind, he's got to make that decision. Okay, do I want to be a double-digit sacks guy, as you said, a third down specialist, and just get to the QB and play totally to my strengths and major in my strengths? Or do I spend a bunch of time working on my weaknesses, right? Do I want to become a better run stopper and have a little more stopping power and be able to do those things? I think there's a lot of players that get to this point in their career in the league and try to figure that out. Yeah. Especially with the next contract looming, not that far down the road. There's not many that can major in everything. Yep, Uchenna's one that can major in just about anything. It's why he was drafted in the second, why he got a contract, why he got another contract. Yeah, he's pretty adept at majoring. And most of the guys that get second and third contracts are pretty unique in that way. And then there's others that stick around in this league because they major in what they do best. Yeah. And I think on this year's team, depending on the acceleration of Derek and the continued growth of Boye, maybe you do just say to Darrell, hey, Darrell, go get us 10 sacks. And when it comes third down time, you are on the field and you are cutting it loose and you are creating havoc.
Well, Clint Hurd here in Cut 11, he's his defensive coordinator, knows that he certainly has that kind of talent. All right. Do we have Clint?
No. No, you don't.
Maybe we don't. That's all right.
You don't have Cut 11, so.
Maybe I don't need Cut 11.
Yes.
Essentially what he's saying is that Darrell Taylor.
Improve as a run defender, and he has actually been committed to doing that, trying to work to get better in that facet, and he's just maximizing all of his rushes, maximizing all of his rushes. He can do that, and there's no reason why he can't be a double-digit sack guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice thing to say about him. And, I think he has the talent to be a double-digit sack guy. I don't know whether he's going to be on the field enough this year to make it happen. That's my question.
Yeah, I think that will be based on those others. I think that will be based on the competition around you. That'll be based on your own health. I mean, Darrell has struggled at times, obviously, to stay healthy. Pretty catastrophic injury coming into this league that kept him out of the year. Had a hip injury last year that slowed him down a little bit. So he has got to remain viable and available. And then when he does, I think that as we're having this intriguing conversation for 6 minutes, I think I'm kind of landing on just go be a sack dude. Brought in a sack specialist. I was looking at some of their new drills they're doing with medicine balls. It'll be fun to ask Pete about this technician that they brought in specifically to work on nothing but you at the line of scrimmage and those pass rush moves. I think I'm kind of landing on that if Darrell Taylor is a third down guy and gets you 10 sacks, be pretty happy with that.
All right, so that is our number 9 most intriguing player. It is Darrell Taylor, outside linebacker. Let me ask